I love a baked cheesecake, but I can't help but tinker with the recipe. Dare I say it, but my back to front version might just be better than the original.
If you've got a family with a sweet tooth like mine, this will be the perfect dessert to have them coming back for more. Start with 900 grams of full-fat cream cheese. Then add 200 grams of caster sugar and pour in 150 ml of sour cream.
Then I'm going to add 3 tablespoons of plain flour. Adding that bit of extra flour means that it kind of thickens up the mix and it draws out any of that extra moisture because you don't want a soggy cheesecake. Let's skip dessert, said no one ever.
Throw in 3 beaten eggs.
Last little bit, which is my favourite bit. I'm using 2 teaspoons of vanilla bean paste. You get those lovely black flecks running through.
Pour into a baking tin.
And then just level off the top. And then get it in the oven at 160 for 1 hour. Once the hour's up, turn the oven off and leave the cheesecake in there till the oven is completely cool.
This will help stop it cracking.
Good night, cheesecake.
As if a cheesecake isn't delicious enough as it is, I like to serve it with a honey-salted caramel sauce. Start with 50 grams of butter, and while it's melting, spoon in 170 grams of set honey. Let it bubble away until it's a light brown. Then switch off the heat and add in 300 ml of double cream. And finally, the salty bit, a good pinch of rock salt. After a mix, set it to one side and leave to cool.
And now onto the base, that's not the base, but is the base, but it's the top. You get what I'm saying, right? So I'm starting off with a zip seal bag, and I'm gonna pop some digestives straight into the bag. Shut it. Use a rolling pin and just smash it up. I don't want to turn it into a fine crumb, so I want big bits and little bits. Have you ever had a cheesecake base where it is so solid and so compact and so thickly packed that when you go to cut it, you can't get your knife in, and when you do get your knife in, your cheesecake goes flying? I hate that in a cheesecake. It totally destroys the cheesecake experience. So, eat your cheesecake back to front. Now that I've got that off my chest, let's move on.
Pour in the cooled honey and melted butter. For even more sweetness, add in some demerara sugar, and for crunch and a touch of luxury, hazelnuts and dark chocolate chunks.
And that is my base that's not a base done.
Once all the elements have cooled, all that's left is to put it all together.
Oh, glorious cheesecake. And that is more like it. Ordinary is great, but ordinary is boring. Back to front. Back to front is the way to go.
This is one of my favourite desserts. My family love it too, and in my opinion, all the best cakes are a little bit back to front. My orange and coffee poke cake is not only delicious to eat, it's so much fun to make. The cake batter starts with oil, dark brown sugar, and 4 eggs.
That'll do.
And now for the coffee fix. 5 teaspoons of instant coffee powder mixed with a splash of boiling water.
That is nuclear. That'll do, that's mixed in. That's it, let's take that over there. So I'm gonna add some self-raising flour straight in here. And then a teaspoon of baking powder. Just give it a mix.
Once you've got a smooth batter, pour into a lined baking tin and bake at 180 for 50 minutes. Then leave to cool completely.
Now, lots of cakes have like ganache or buttercream, and I figured, you know what? Why not do a really zesty orange curd?
All good curds start with egg yolks, and this is no different. 6 of them. To those, I'm adding 100 grams of caster sugar and 20 grams of butter, and the zest of 2 large oranges. Then squeeze out the juice of the oranges and add those to the mix. Finally, 3 tablespoons of corn flour to thicken the whole mixture up. Then give it a mix over a low heat.
And that, it's thickened quite a lot now, and the cooler this gets, the thicker it becomes, which is exactly what I want.
Pour the curd into a bowl and put into the fridge to cool and thicken.
So that's my coffee cake and my orange curd. Now it's time for the poke. And I'm literally going to poke the cake using the back of a wooden spoon. I told you this cake was fun. Oh, it's a little bit wonky down that end. It's all right.
My family love this cake and it's great to make with the kids. Don't hold back on the curd. What's not to like?
This is going to please the icing lovers and the cake lovers in my family. But you know what? I'll be surprised if this makes it through the weekend.
If you can't bake at the weekend, when can you? And this one's a piece of cake.
I don't know about you, but when I've had a really busy day, I need something sweet for a little pick-me-up. And my kids are exactly the same. So I like to keep something sweet in my cupboard, like my apple Rocky Road.
These are a huge hit in my family. Sweet, sticky, chewy, and even better for being so easy to make. I start my Rocky Road by chopping up 200 grams of white chocolate.
Rocky Road is one of the first things I ever made with my kids. If you've got really young kids and you want to get into baking, it's a really good place to start because you don't need an oven, but you still get to measure and mix. That's all of the things that the kids love doing. And licking the bowl afterwards.
Drop the chocolate into a bowl with 130 grams of unsalted butter.
Just even it out. And then I've got a pan with some water in it. I'm just gonna set the bowl on top of the pan, and then I'm gonna add my golden syrup. Talk about sweet hit. Just needs a bit of a, like, just to agitate it a little bit, just to get it moving.
Stir occasionally while you get on with the crunchy bits.
So I've got my cinnamon biscuits. Now, apple, cinnamon, classic combination. I'm gonna pop those into a bag, and this is just a really easy way of crushing up the biscuits. My rolling pin. I don't want to crush them to a fine dust. I want chunks. When I bite into that Rocky Road, I want chunks of biscuit. That's my chocolate, butter, golden syrup melted. That's my sugar fix right there. But if I'm gonna have a sugar fix, it's gotta be good. So I'm gonna add some more sugar.
In the form of yummy mini marshmallows.
I want it to cool down because I learnt the hard way that you don't put marshmallows into hot chocolate too soon. It's just like a gooey, delicious, but like a gooey, stringy mess.
While it cools, you can add the crushed biscuits, some chopped dried apples,
and these are great because they're this kind of, I don't know how they do it, but they do this kind of, they dry them enough so they're not crisp, but dry them enough that they're still kind of soft, but also a little bit chewy.
Raisins, half a teaspoon of cinnamon, and finally, the all-important marshmallows.
All I need to do now is just make sure everything is coated. So I've got a square 9-inch baking tin, and that's just lined with some baking paper. It's all really dependent on how thick or how thin you want your Rocky Road. Some people, like sometimes I like Rocky Road that's like the size of a breeze block. And sometimes I like it nice and thin because I'm a lady and I like thin Rocky Road. But other times I like me a breeze block. Oh my God, that smells like breakfast. So I'm just taking the back of the spoon and I'm pushing down with the back of the spoon, really compressing it down. Because where all the liquid meets the biscuits and the raisins and the marshmallow, when I put it in the fridge, it'll set solid. And so that when I go to chop it, I can cut it really evenly. So all this needs is at least an hour in the fridge. You can go over an hour, but at least an hour to set it.
Once it's chopped up into slices, my apple rocky road is the perfect treat for those hectic weekdays. This is one of my family's favourites. It's a noodle dish packed full of warming chai flavours, perfect for keeping you going on an action-packed day out.
To me, this is like the porridge, but the Bangladeshi version. And it's my favourite. It's not just about the kids, it's about me too. This is the fun bit.
Crunch up vermicelli noodles and toast them.
You know that smell of baking a cake? I don't know what it is about when you toast these noodles. It smells like I'm baking a cake in the house. That's probably what drags them out of bed. You gotta be careful. You can't leave this. You can't just kind of walk away because it goes from being light brown to dark brown so quickly. I'm gonna just turn that down because I don't want it to go anymore. I wanna just keep that heat on, but it will turn so fast.
When the noodles are ready, add a bay leaf, cinnamon stick and a cardamom pod. This gives it a chai flavour.
I can already smell those spices. They've got a bit more work to do though.
My mum's version of this dish has lots of butter and whole milk, but I want to do something lighter.
I love Mum's version and I make it all the time, but this version is like really coconut heavy. Really making something like this, I'm kind of setting the kids up. We're ready for a really long day, but all it does is make me want to stay home and eat some more.
When all the coconut oil has melted, add caster sugar.
I'm gonna admit that I really like it sweet. I like it really, really sweet. So I've got the coconut cream in. I'm gonna let that come to the boil and then turn it down and let it just cook slowly till those noodles are totally soft. And just for some extra coconutty goodness, I've got some coconut flakes. And these are really nice just as they are, but they taste even better when you toast them. It's worth the extra step. Breakfast is nearly ready. I am solely responsible for burning the most coconut chips in the world. You know how everybody has a preference as to how thick they like their porridge or how thin they like their porridge? This is, again, the exact same thing. If you like it really, really thick, cook it down, let it take its time, get it really nice and thick. But if you like it really thin, then, add a little bit more coconut cream, loosen it up. It's up to you. This is like your porridge, but with noodles instead. That is done. That's how I like it. That is my childhood all in one mouthful. Creamy, toasty vermicelli in chai spices with my little addition of toasted coconuts.
Chai-spiced vermicelli, warming, wholesome with a spicy kick. The perfect breakfast to set you up for a long day out. When you've got guests, you really have to do a pudding.
This is like a crumble, but a little bit fancier. But the best thing is, nobody fights over portions.
I like my crumble with more fruit and less crumble. And these individual pear crumbles are the perfect dessert to show off when you have people to stay. First, peel the pears.
Crumble is something that I have in my house all the time. It's a really good way of using up leftover fruit, and then you just kind of bit of crumble on top in the oven. So when someone comes over to stay, I like to make a crumble, but something that's a little bit fancier, something that says I didn't just kind of whack this together.
Leaving the stalks on, cut the pears in half.
So I'm going to poach my pears in apple juice. The first time I saw pears being poached, it was on television and it was in red wine. Now, I don't drink, so it doesn't mean I can't have a poached pear. So this is my alternative if you don't drink.
With the pears bubbling in the apple juice, split a vanilla pod and add to the mix. Make sure you use all the seeds.
So I've got the gas on and I'm going to let these boil and simmer for about 30 minutes. And as the pears boil, all that apple juice is going to kind of permeate into the rest of the pears and make them lovely and soft. So I'm going to leave that and then I'm going to make my crumble.
Add 50 grams of plain flour and 25 grams of butter.
I'm rubbing my butter into my flour. So you've got these lovely buttery, floury clumps, which is perfect.
25 grams of demerara sugar and 100 grams of granola. Add sweetness and crunch.
So my crumble's ready. Just going to check if my pears are cooked. They're lovely and soft in the middle, which is perfect. I'm going to turn that off. So my pears have cooled and I'm just going to fish them out. Before I do anything else to the pears, what I want to do is make a syrup out of the apple juice and the vanilla. I don't want to throw any of it away. That's worked really hard to kind of poach my pears and I want to keep every last bit of it. So I'm going to turn the heat back up.
150 grams of demerara sugar will transform the juice into a delicious syrup for the crumble. Scoop out the inside of the pears and fill the holes with balls of marzipan.
If you don't like marzipan on your fruitcake, try cooking marzipan when it's hot and gooey and almondy. Then you'll change your mind about marzipan.
Put the pears into a dish and carefully place the crumble onto each half.
I mean, you know what? I am all for a crumble, but there is something lovely about being able to see those individual poached pears with that lovely crumbly topping. And then what's even nicer is that nobody knows there's that hidden surprise of marzipan in the middle.
Bake in the oven for 20 minutes at 180 degrees. And make sure you keep an eye on the apple syrup.
It doesn't look like a crumble, but it is. It's got that lovely, soft apple poached pear, and then my gorgeous apple caramel. From the time the crumble's been in the oven, that has just slowly been cooking away, and it's gone from cloudy apple juice with vanilla to this kind of amber golden caramel. My brother always says, what's the point in dinner if there's no pudding afterwards? And you know what? He's not wrong. All roads should lead to pudding, especially if it's pear crumble.
Served with a scoop of ice cream, my half-pear crumble is the perfect pudding to give to your friends and family when they visit.
So I'm going to start off with the filling for my Mocha Swirls. And the first thing I'm going to do is add a tablespoon of butter.
To the melted butter, add 2 tablespoons of espresso powder and 2 of cocoa powder, 65 grams of soft brown sugar, and 100 grams of finely chopped dark chocolate.
I've just mixed that up and I'm just going to pop that to a side. That's done, ready. Now for my dough. Grab a bowl. Have you ever had a cinnamon swirl before? Well, this is like a cinnamon swirl, but without the cinnamon and with the mocha. It's such an easy thing to bake, but it makes you look so accomplished.
For the dough, put 450 grams of self-raising flour, 2 tablespoons of caster sugar, and a pinch of salt into a bowl and give it a quick mix.
So that's my dry ingredients onto my wet ingredients. So I've got 100 grams of melted butter, and then to that, I'm going to add 200 mils of milk. Make sure when you've melted your butter that it's cooled.
Add a teaspoon of vanilla bean paste for flavour and 2 egg yolks.
So, and this is why you want to make sure that your butter is cold, because I'm putting egg yolks in here. And I don't want scrambled eggs before I've got Mocha Swirls. Give everything a good mix around. And then back to my dry ingredients. So I'm going to make a little well in the centre and then add all my wet ingredients straight in. And this is the kind of thing that I would have for breakfast. You know when somebody comes over to stay, like it beats cereal and toast. It feels like you've really made an effort.
Sprinkle a little flour onto the work surface, knead and roll out the dough. Aim for around 30 by 25 centimetres.
Even though I like to freestyle occasionally, I think a ruler is an essential kit for anyone who's baking. And it also makes you feel good when you get it bang on.
Spread the filling evenly across the dough, making sure to get all the way to the edges.
You imagine once that sugar's melted, along with the butter and the cocoa and the coffee and the chocolate. I know you can taste it in your mouth. I want to make sure that those swirls are lovely and tight, so when I cut into them, you see that gorgeous swirl. Like imagine you had people over to stay, they could be in bed and you could have this in and out of the oven within, what, 45 minutes?
Cut the dough into 9 equal pieces.
So if you just push it with the chubby part of your hand like that, and then all the kind of dough and the coffee and the sugar and the chocolate all kind of stick together.
Place them into a greased cake tin.
They look like they're not going to fit, but they will.
Brush with milk and pop into an oven at 180 degrees for 30 to 35 minutes.
So these have been out of the oven for about 10 minutes, and look at them, you can still see the swirls, but where they've baked, they've gone lovely and golden. So these aren't finished yet. What they need is a sticky, sweet icing.
For the icing, mix together 2 tablespoons of boiling water and 2 of espresso powder.
Give that a little mix.
Next, add a tablespoon of butter and 2 tablespoons of cream cheese. Mix until you have a thick coffee-flavoured icing.
And now to that, I'm going to add 125 grams of icing sugar. Ooh, straight in. So you want to mix that till you've got a lovely, smooth, glossy coffee icing. Oh my God, I could drink that. I'm not going to though. So now, to put my icing on top of my swirls. Cover it enough so you've got little bits of that icing kind of running through all the swirls. And that is done. There's no being polite here. You have to get your fingers straight in and then tear it straight out. I've got coffee and breakfast all in one. Serve this for breakfast, and they're definitely staying for lunch. Whenever I buy carrots, I always seem to have 3 left over. Now, that's not enough to feed all 5 of us, but it's perfect for a carrot cake. But I found a really fun way of eating my carrot cake.
Carrot cake pakoras are one of my crazy middle-of-the-night ideas. I deep fry carrot cake just like a traditional pakora and serve hot with a cool sweet cream cheese dip. It's a great way to use up leftover carrots.
The best thing about making these carrot cake pakoras is that there's no wait. Like, make, fry, eat. So I want to make the dip first. So I've got full-fat cream cheese. Now, never ever go for the low-fat stuff. If you're going full-fat, go all the way. And then I've got some butter. You want to keep mixing that. Mix it really, really well till the butter and the cream cheese have combined. You don't want any lumps.
Mix in 4 tablespoons of icing sugar, 2 tablespoons of maple syrup, and a pinch of salt.
Make sure you scrape out every bit, all the fights we've had when there's not been enough dip.
To finish off, add another dash of maple syrup and a pinch of mixed spice. Next, it's deep frying time. Heat 1.5 litres of oil on a high heat, then grate the carrots.
People deep fry chocolate bars, so why not deep fry cake batter? My carrots in.
Roughly chop 50 grams of walnuts. Then add 50 grams of raisins and 20 grams of caster sugar.
A lot of the ideas that I come up with just kind of come to me, either in a dream, like I'll dream about something and think, oh, I think that might work. And I mean, they don't always work, but some do. And I knew it when I thought to myself, carrot cake pakoras, deep fried cake batter. I mean, I kind of knew in those 4 words that I think I can make this work.
Mix in 120 grams of self-raising flour, half a teaspoon of baking powder, and a teaspoon of mixed spice.
What I don't want is a dense pakora. They need to be light and fluffy and crisp on the outside. And adding the self-raising flour, adding the baking powder means that you get that kind of crispy outside, but really fluffy on the inside pakora.
Lightly beat 2 eggs and stir into the mixture until you have a thick batter.
Before the age of 8, I was frying pakoras like a demon. It's like, you had to learn. And what you want in a batter like this is that everything that you got in there needs to kind of stick together. As I mix it and kind of pile it up, if they look like they don't like each other and they're just kind of like separating, it needs to be thicker. Right now, they're clinging to each other, which means I can't let it sit, so I've got to get it fried.
To test that the oil is hot, add a small drop of batter. If it rises to the top, the oil is ready for frying.
The heat of the oil is really important. Not hot enough, and then as soon as the batter hits the oil, all of it kind of like soaks up like a sponge.
Gently drop teaspoons of the mixture into the oil. Make sure not to overcrowd the pan.
You know when people say the smell of a cake baking in your oven is the best smell? You should try frying your cake.
Fry for 4 to 5 minutes until golden brown.
They're just like bouncing up. Woo! You're going nowhere. Come back.
Dust with icing sugar.
You know, when I thought I was mad at 2 o'clock in the morning waking up to cook this crazy idea, there's times like this, I know it was worth it. Go for a dip. A hot carrot cake and cream cheese frosting. I'm going to say it. That is carrot cake improved.
Carrot cake pakoras with cream cheese dip. A delicious way to say goodbye to your leftover carrots.
This breakfast is wholesome and delicious, and the beauty is you make it and you leave it in the fridge, and the longer you leave it, the tastier it becomes.
My mango lassi Bircher is great to make in advance, so you've always got something tasty, filling and nutritious to grab for breakfast on those manic weekday mornings.
So I'm not suggesting you toast your almonds on a busy Monday morning. This is the kind of thing that I do the night before.
Tinned mango pulp is the key ingredient of my Bircher.
You could use whatever you like. You could go wild. You could use any soft fruit. Look at that colour. That is a psychedelic Bircher.
Throw in a few chopped mint leaves and the zest and juice of a couple of limes.
I have noticed recently at these really fancy coffee shops, you can get little pots, tiny little pots of Bircher. Like, I don't feel great spending that much money and having like a itty bitty little bit of Bircher. No. But you know what? It's porridge, it's a bit of puree. Why can't I just do this myself? And it's so much cheaper to make at home.
Pour in around 200 ml of milk.
So I'm using almond milk. I've got almonds in this Bircher, so why not use almond milk? They just go together. That smells really good. So now, I'm gonna add my porridge oats. And my dad's not a big fan of Bircher. He's like, well, you haven't cooked it, so it's not really porridge. I'm like, but it's not porridge, Dad, it's Bircher, it's completely different. And he's like, I don't get you, young folk, you don't cook your oats. It's like, it's okay, Dad, it's not that bad. I still haven't convinced him yet. Straight in. This is kind of where the magic happens. These oats go from being these tiny little flakes, and they kind of soak up all that mango, the almond milk, and they become plump. And then the last little bit, I've got my almonds. I'm going to keep one half for topping with, and the other half I'm going to throw in there. And that's literally it. All I need to do is cover it up. I've got one in the fridge from last night.
The fab thing about this breakfast is that you can make it ahead of time and have it waiting in the fridge ready for those busy weekday mornings.
When you've got something as delicious as this in the fridge, you've got to stake your claim. All mine.
I like to eat my Bircher with fresh mango, a bit more freshly chopped mint, and finally the rest of the toasted almonds.
Who says breakfast has to be time-consuming and tasteless? It can be delicious and wholesome and beautiful, just like this mango lime lassi Bircher. Who knew easy could taste this good?
This is the perfect breakfast breakfast to set you up for another busy day. Soda bread is the quickest bread you'll ever make. My caramel tear and share version is the best you'll ever taste.
Soda bread is probably one of the easiest breads to make, mainly because there's no kneading, there's no improving, and the reason why I like it is because there's no waiting. I'm chopping up some dark chocolate, which is not traditional in soda bread. I don't really follow rules, and I'm not about to start today.
Pour the chocolate into a bowl with 340 grams of plain flour.
If you want to make some bread really quickly and someone's coming over, and you want to really impress them with the smell that's going to hit them as soon as they walk in, this is the bread for you.
Next, add in half a teaspoon of bicarbonate of soda, half a teaspoon of salt, and 25 grams of caster sugar.
And the bicarbonate of soda is really important because that's where all the magic happens. As soon as that moisture hits that bicarbonate of soda, that's where you get your soda bread. It starts to do that rising and lifting from the moment you get that liquid in there.
Pour in 290 ml of buttermilk.
This is the bit where it becomes more than soda bread. I've already got chocolate in there. But now I'm going to add vanilla bean paste. And I love this stuff because it's already mixed in a syrup and it's got all those lovely little tiny black vanilla seeds in there. And that, when I mix that into the bread, that's going to, every bite you're going to get a little bit of vanilla. Chocolate, vanilla, yum. Looking good already, right? Convinced yet? And then I'm just gradually bringing all of that together. Right, I'm gonna get my hands in now. Remember I said this doesn't need kneading. This is the kind of bread that you can just be a little bit mean to. It's like, you know what, I'm not gonna give you any attention. I'm gonna mix you up and stick you on a tray and put you in the oven.
Tip the dough onto a flour-dusted baking tray.
I say tear and share, but actually I'm very good at tearing but not very good at sharing. So just to kind of avoid any arguments, I like to be a little bit precise. So let's see, 25, yes, 25. It's so important in a soda bread to cut all the way down because by cutting all the way down, it allows for some of that air, those bubbles, that gas to escape, giving it lots of room to kind of grow and bloom. So as if this wasn't decadent enough, I'm gonna add some more bits to it. So I've got my box of chocolates. So these are little chocolates filled with salted caramel. And I'm gonna take each one and I'm just gonna pop them down in the center. But now imagine, as that soda bread rises up, it's going to grow around the chocolate and then that salted caramel's gonna melt a little bit and the chocolate's gonna melt a little bit. So each little piece will have its own salted caramel goodness in the middle.
Bake in a preheated oven at 200 for 30 minutes. When the half hour is up, transfer to a cooling rack and leave for another 10 minutes before it gets its final chocolatey flourish.
I mean, it's already packed with chocolate, but I want to add more. I want to make it really special. So I've got some cocoa powder. I'm just going to dust it lightly. What? I said lightly. And then, because it doesn't have enough chocolate, I'm going to drizzle some chocolate on top. So I've got some melted dark chocolate. So you can't do this without making a little bit of a mess. Something about throwing chocolate all over the place that makes me giggle. I mean, you never really know when you've got enough on. It's really up to you how much you want to put on and how much you want to cover up. But if I keep going, I'll just keep going, and then it'll just be a load of chocolate on top. I think that is enough. I mean, the clue's in the name. There's no one here to share it with. It doesn't mean I can't tear it. There really is only one way to eat it. Tear it, share it, and enjoy it.
Caramel soda bread. Not bad when enjoyed on your own, but even better shared with friends and family. If you don't have honey in your cupboard, I've got another treat that is sticky, spongy and yummy. A really indulgent pud that my kids love. For maximum flavour, start by crushing the seeds of 4 cardamom pods.
You can get ground cardamom in packets, but they are nowhere near as good as the real stuff.
You only need the seeds, so remove the hard husk.
This is going to give my sponge that lovely, fragrant smell. How can something so small pack a punch? That is such a tiny, almost insignificant amount. I promise you that is not insignificant.
Add the cardamom seeds to 110 grams of plain flour, half a teaspoon each of bicarbonate of soda and baking powder.
Then I'm going to add 225 grams of milk powder. It makes the sponge rich and creamy. Have you ever walked past and seen these Indian sweets and they're like kind of in trays, angled and loads of beautiful colours, and then gone in and bought a few and eaten it and realised that you're going to lose all your teeth because they're so sweet? Well, like, I love that sweet hit sometimes. I don't love it all the time. Imagine having that every day. I wouldn't have that every day. But sometimes you just need that sweet hit. So that's my dry ingredients mixed up. Now for my wet ingredients. I've got 250 grams of whole milk and then 25 grams of melted butter. And I need 1 egg yolk.
Mix and add to the dry ingredients.
And at the moment, it looks nothing like a sponge at all. So I need to leave this now for about 30, 40 minutes just to help the batter just to thicken up so it's strong enough so I can make little balls. And now I'm going to make the syrup to go with the sponge.
Heat 440 grams of caster sugar with 400 ml of water and add just a pinch of saffron.
And this is where it's already different. I've got saffron in my syrup, I've got cardamom in my sponge, like already flavours are happening.
Boil the syrup mix until the sugar has dissolved.
Right now, it doesn't look like a syrup. I want all of that liquid to kind of be soaked up by the sponge. And if it's thick and treacly, it's not going to do any soaking. So I want it to be sugary water. That's what I want. Look, and there's no granules left.
Now let's get the balls rolling.
So this is the fun bit. I love making the sponge balls.
Moisten your hands with a little oil and roll the mixture into walnut-sized balls.
You don't want too many cracks in the dough, because if you've got cracks, that's where when you fry it, it'll just kind of burst open. So just give it a good squeeze and then just pop them down onto your tray. And then just keep doing that till you've finished them all. This is quite a relaxing thing to do. Really good one for the kids.
The sponges are shallow fried in hot oil.
And these burn really quickly, so you've got to be really careful. Keep an eye on your oil. Don't make it really hot, just hot enough to start frying gently. Yeah, there you go, look, bubbles. Little bubbles.
Fry the balls for 2 to 3 minutes on each side until they are a lovely dark golden colour.
Yes. That's what you want, lovely and golden, and just push them down, just a little push. Oh! Normally when they make these at the Indian shops, they deep fry them so they're around, all over golden. But these, I love these because, check this out, this is my favourite bit, that bit. It's like a little donut.
Place into a dish, making sure they don't overlap, and douse in the luxurious saffron syrup.
Pour that all over. So all I'm going to do is leave these for 2 hours to absorb all that saffron syrup. And then just to finish them off, I like to grate some orange zest on top and some crushed pistachios. I mean, if that's not a treat, I don't know what is.